Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Hilaal Live. Thanks for watching us on Channel 347. Really appreciate it. And exciting interview now as well. Someone that's no stranger to the Hilaal TV brand and family as well. My absolute pleasure to have in studio World Kung Fu Champion, MJ Lee. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Ni hao. Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
My absolute pleasure. And he's brought along the captain of the MJ Lee Kung Fu Foundation student and SA Youth Kung Fu team captain, Sinawo Yola.
Yeah.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Nice to be here.
You're looking so great with your tracksuit, and we're going to get to why you've got that tracksuit on in a second as well. MJ, you've had a couple of great years. It's been a hustle, as they say, but you've forged through and you've managed to accomplish so much over the last so many years as well. So congratulations to you and your teams.
Thank you.
But for those of our viewers that don't know too much about your journey, just, let's take a couple of years back into where your journey of Kung Fu started and to where we are today.
Good question. We'll probably need a series for that, so maybe stay tuned. But thanks for having me on Hilaal TV. The studio looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Magnificent. I think me now approaching my 25th year as a professional, as an international martial artist, as a gold medalist, it hasn't been an easy ride for me.
Sure.
Nothing came to me by the way. I had to work for everything. And I think even 10 years ago when I started working with youth in the country and predominantly in the Western Cape, that also didn't come easy.
Right.
So for me, it was ultimately about realizing a dream. Many years ago, when I approached my late mom and I told her I'd love to actually go to China, the home of Kung Fu. At that time, I was training for a few years already.
Right.
Because my late mother was a very strong Turkish woman, she was an Effendi.
Yes.
She said, well, if that's your choice,
Yeah.
once you get to China, you're not going to cry. Then you're on your own.
Right.
And once you make this decision, you have to also side by side with that, commit yourself to studies after grade 12.
Right.
I naturally had to agree, because I had an extremely strong, motivated mother. And I think her influence carried me for a number of years,
Alhamdulillah.
and she continues to do that.
Alhamdulillah.
So I pray that the Almighty really reward her in abundance for that,
Ameen.
My dad was kind of like the silent partner. Whatever I wanted to do, he supported in the background. So I think that close-knit connection with my parents and my siblings and getting my brothers as young boys with me involved in the Kung Fu many, many years ago was not easy because obviously we loved rugby. We came from a sport crazy family. My great grandfather was a legendary Springbok rugby player, Gerry Brandt. So I come from this type of dynamic. My grandfather played first class rugby, my uncle played, we played rugby, we played cricket. I was very active in athletics, but I needed to make a decision in my teens as to where I'd like to head.
Right.
Perhaps 20 years ago, in hindsight, I looked at possibly, turning out for the Proteas, or at least, representing the Cobras and Western Province cricket. That's the design that I had, but I needed to make a decision.
I think in hindsight you made the better decision because South African cricket's been challenged at the moment.
Yeah, we wish the Proteas, all the best at the upcoming World Cup in India, because we need to be patriotic towards our national teams. And the Springboks in France now at the moment,
So
defending champions.
That's a topic where you and I can kind of disagree on, but okay.
No, we'll agree. I know the All Blacks, the transition there. I mean, I'm a huge supporter of
but
both sides.
Look, it's World Cup.
Absolutely.
So we support all the teams.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The journey is definitely been one to write home about, and I think you've written that in a book as well.
Yeah.
And it's we'll get our listeners to maybe tap into that at some stage. But you also won the world championship a few times, the Kung Fu in your specific division that you competed in. How many medals have you won?
In total, 33 gold medals, 12 silver, and 5 bronze.
Amazing.
Alhamdulillah, across 5 world championships.
Amazing.
I've managed to retain the Legends of Kung Fu World Championship title on 3 consecutive occasions. I've had an amazing opportunity to represent my country in China, in the Chinese territories in Hong Kong, Macau, Taipei, be in Indonesia, represent South Africa there, Mexico, the US, Turkey.
Wow.
So for me, it's just been amazing. But everything came with hard work.
I agree.
A lot of youngsters, when they speak to me, how did you do it? What is your net worth? You know, let's Google this. Let's do that, and then they decide, do we make a decision to actually, you know, forge a career in Kung Fu? But what I always tell youngsters when I do meet them anywhere in the country, I will say to them, bear in mind, in 2009 was actually for me a turning point. I was already a professional athlete, professional perhaps by 10, 12 years already, and I did not make the grade then. I failed at the Hong Kong Masters International Championship. And just 2 years before that, I'd won bronze, and 2 years before that, I'd also won bronze at the World Championship. And I felt very negative. And I was in two minds. Do I continue to pursue this, or do I perhaps throw in the towel? So I needed to make a decision. And 2 years after that was the Legends World Championship, and the year before that was the World Jingwu Championships in Shanghai. So I came back home, and you know, I felt deflated. I was down. I was already an international bronze medalist, but I was in two minds. Where do I go from here? I went back to the drawing board. And this is what I tell a lot of students when I meet them and a lot of youth. Look at where I failed and how I had to come back from there. Because if you're not going to, then, you know, you become a fatalist, and then everything just slips into oblivion. And then you can do the mundane 9 to 5 and just be happy with that for the rest of your life. So I went back to the drawing board. I looked at all my mistakes of that 2009 Hong Kong Masters Championship. And then I made a conscientious decision. In the next 10 years, from 2010 up until 2020, I want to become a 3 times gold medalist and world champion. And with a lot of hard work, I achieved it from 2010 up until last year in Turkey at the World Cup. I haven't retired yet, so I'm slowly thinking of what the next chapter would be like. And I think for me, starting to work with youth, and that's why Sinawo, who is literally like my son. 7 years he's been my student. He's now studying engineering at CPUT. He was a student at Windsor High School, and I visited that school. And I then grabbed hold of him along with many others, because there were hundreds who started with him across the province. And he persevered. So I think this is the next chapter, which I think is going to become even more exciting.
Inshallah. So now, thanks so much for joining us in studio. Your journey to Kung Fu, where did this passion come from? I mean, I'm sure initially it was the movies that attracted you, like we all do. But where does your passion come from?
Well, like every other child, we all see these Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee movies on the television. And I always saw it on television, and always in the back of my mind had a dream, like, if I had the chance, I would take it.
Brilliant.
And when my Shifu showed up at Windsor, I was like, this is the time. And believe it or not, when the opportunity came, I believe Shifu saw passion in my ability and saw that there's future of Kung Fu.
Brilliant. Were you a sporty youngster? I mean, did you compete in other sports as well?
Yeah, very much so. Well, in my journey, I have participated in a lot of dance genres, hip hop and ballet being one of them. And then after my dance career, which was
ballet.
Ballet.
Nice.
Like Jean-Claude.
Absolutely, definitely. Can you do that spinning round kick as well?
And then after my dance season of my life, I went into rugby and cricket, just like my Shifu, but you weren't at the same time.
Right. You would have given him a run for his money, I think, definitely.
And then when I came into high school, I, God willingly, God thanks for it, I met my Shifu. And it's been a very good journey, and a very, I can't put it into words, but it's awesome.
Brilliant. Well, we're going to talk about some of your achievements as well very soon as well. We're going to take an ad break very soon as well. But MJ, this is the type of legacy that you would love to leave behind, or leave, or just progress with? And I'm sure you have a few other students like Sinawo who has the special affiliation to Kung Fu.
Absolutely. I think for me, this is like kind of like opening the door to the next chapter. Sinawo Yola from Gugulethu, from Cape Town.
Amazing.
He started with hundreds of students that I tutored and offered up my time free to. He's here. He's been to China with me, to Hong Kong. He's been to Botswana. He's captained the SA youth team. They literally hands down snapped up 21 gold medals.
Amazing.
You know, at our recent Africa Youth Kung Fu tournament in Cape Town in March. And then my son, Saifullah, in his 8th year, a 4 times gold medalist at junior level.
Sure.
And these young men, they stand to become Proteas actually next year, along with Lukman Slami that I picked up at Mohammedia. He's now studying IT.
Wow.
Sishle Solani from Langa, 16 years old. Also, I picked him up at age 9. This is just an amazing journey for me now, because I begin to see these little boys grow into young men.
How amazing is that? We have world Kung Fu champion in studio, MJ Lee, and chatting about some of the great achievements he's achieved over the years, but now passing that on to the next generation as well. When we come back, we chat about some of the tournaments that's going to be happening, and I'm sure you're going to be very excited to want to be part of that as well. Thanks for watching us on Hilaal Live. Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for watching us on Hilaal Live, and in studio I've got World Kung Fu champion MJ Lee and student Sinawo, who are just making amazing strides in our community and in the world of Kung Fu as well. MJ and Sinawo, thanks so much for coming into studio again. Really appreciate it. You have an exciting event coming up in October. I know you've got the World Champions, Africa World Championship coming up, International Youth Kung Fu Tournament coming up next year. But the one in October, tell us about that one.
So it links to the first Africa Youth Kung Fu tournament we hosted in March earlier this year in Goodwood, Cape Town. It was, without a doubt, I really appreciated it, but it was supported by the city of Cape Town in a big way. Western Cape Government, Minister Andrew Mare, the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport, OCAF SA, also doing amazing work in South Africa and all over the world.
Absolutely.
Osmond Stores, as well as Auto Monarch in Strand. Without their support, it would not have happened. This was the first time that we had athletes from 4 African countries crossing over the border, coming into South Africa to compete in South Africa, and the mother city actually played host to it. So I had a very strong contingent of 48 athletes, and Sinawo was the youth captain for the SA youth team. And then we had a very strong team from Botswana that came down, and they traveled by road, made a lot of sacrifices, but they came with a lot of heart. 30 athletes with 2 of their coaches, and we had a few individual athletes from Zimbabwe, Malawi, as well as Nigeria, also an athlete that was here. So I think we're building on that. The results, obviously, people saw it online, they saw it on television, they heard about it on the radio. The South African youth team under Sinawo's leadership and my coaching, they won first place, beating Botswana. The SA youth team winning a total of 21 gold medals, 4 silver and 4 bronze. Sorry, 6 silver. I'm shortchanging 6 silver, 2 bronze. Botswana finished in 2nd place with about 6 gold medals and I think 3 silver. So now we want to build on this. We want to make this an annual event. So the first stop obviously is the 7th of October here in Cape Town at Fairbairn College in Goodwood, the multi-purpose venue. Fantastic venue.
It is.
Fantastic area. You've been in the area, so you know. It's a competition for my local students from Cape Town. So about 48 of them will compete on the day, starting at 8 a.m. And then we are opening it up as a trial competition to youth from anywhere in the Western Cape. They're welcome to register and participate. We will show them what the rules is for Kung Fu and Sanda, which is the full contact in Chinese martial arts, the Chinese kickboxing. And we want to spot potential because we're 6 months away from our big international event. So it's going to give, firstly, Sinawo them an opportunity, you know, just to get rid of the cobwebs, because for a couple of months there hasn't been competition. So season is starting for us again now.
Brilliant.
And then we want to open it to the youth. Whether you have martial arts experience or not, and you're aged between 10 and 19, you can actually come down to our competition trial taking place on the 7th of October. So it's open to anyone, as long as you can contact us in advance.
Right.
Then we will do another trial in Caledon and Riviersonderend for those two areas. One in Paarl, because there are a lot of students that trained under me in Paarl about 17 years ago. And then we'll obviously also do it in PE, in Johannesburg and Pretoria.
Nice.
So the first stop is obviously 7th of October. And then hopefully this is going to lay the foundation for March 2024.
So now you must be looking forward to this tournament, because it also then just brushes up your skills and ready for the All Africa tournament as well. But this trophy, I mean, this is a beautiful trophy and these medals. Tell us about that very quickly.
Well, we, as soon as we saw the trophy in March, we were like, yeah, they ain't leaving with this one. They are not leaving
Fair
with
warning.
this one. This is ours.
Right.
And at the end of the night, we saw in ourselves that no, we came in hard and they weren't expecting. And to quote my own self, from prior to the tournament, we saw that the potential in Africa and its ability to perform in these types of situations was as expected.
Brilliant.
It wasn't as easy as it looks,
right,
but it was.
The talent, the talent
was there.
That's nice, because you would then up your game accordingly as well. Have you stopped yourself from making all those noises when you do the kung fu moves, or do you still do it?
Well, it's not really noise.
I know it's exacerbated on TV, but I mean, like, do you still, perform some of those? Have you progressed in your career? I mean, are you doing what you did 5 years ago, or have you progressed accordingly?
I have progressed exponentially.
Nice.
Exponentially, due to my passion for it.
For kung fu.
Because my passion for it has allowed me to master even without competing or taking part in exercises or anything. As soon as I think of a particular form, a particular stretch, a particular fighting combination, I'm already thinking what would happen, and my brain is like, okay, from this form, Tai Chi, right? Right. Tai Chi would always block it.
For sure.
But you can also combine the two.
Right, gotcha.
I'll have to discuss with my shifu on the other one.
Fascinating. So this is all in preparation to the All Africa tournament next year. So you had the first one this year? Was it the first?
The first in March.
Okay, so now this can only grow to greater heights. What can we expect next year?
I think, look, man, it's a very good question that you're asking. And I think what we will say now, Hilaal TV is actually sharing this with South Africa and the African continent for the first time. Right. Because we only sent out a press release yesterday.
Oh, brilliant.
So we're exactly 180 days away from the second Africa International Kung Fu and Open Youth Martial Arts Championship. I want the mother city to be the annual one-stop city that will host youth from Africa. Over the years, I've traveled to China. I've traveled all over the world to represent my country. Many times I would get there and I'm the only one from Africa.
Wow.
They're like, yo, this dude is from Africa.
Yeah, yeah.
But why and how? And always questions being asked. And I would always say, don't underestimate Africa. It's the cradle of civilization.
True.
We have tremendous potential. But I know a lot of our youth with the dynamic will never be able to go to China. Some may be able to go, because I know I was the first Southern African Muslim to go to China and train at the Shaolin Temple more than 22 years ago. I was the first.
Right.
And I know that because history already has that. It's stored there and it will forever be remembered. So I thought, what about, putting together an international event for youth from Africa?
Nice.
Where they can come together over 2 days, compete in a professional environment. I mean, it would be amazing if Hilaal TV actually does broadcast.
Inshallah.
Either the 2nd or the 3rd of March.
Inshallah.
Next year, that will be amazing.
Inshallah.
So then I thought, okay, we need to do something. And hence we put this plan in motion earlier this year. So obviously we looked at what we did and now we want to upgrade.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
we will have athletes coming from East London and PE.
Nice.
Athletes coming from Johannesburg. I'm working with Coach Shamir from Kickfit Martial Arts SA in Boksburg. He's going to be bringing athletes down.
Nice.
A friend of mine, Shifu Zunaid Mamdu in Lands, has a very big academy. The two of us were at the Shaolin Temple about 20 years ago. He's bringing athletes also down to Cape Town. And then we're activating training trials and cells here in the Western Cape.
Brilliant.
And a few athletes coming from Pretoria. So South Africa is going to be well represented. Then we will have confirmed athletes coming from Uganda, Rwanda, Botswana, Malawi, Mozambique, Tanzania. They're all coming over the border. And we've widened the net now. We've invited Turkey to send athletes. We've invited the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to send athletes. We've invited the USA and Mexico to send athletes, as well as Hong Kong. So we want to give it a more international flavor. We're looking forward to the support of the City of Cape Town and Western Cape government, especially DCAS. And then we have special guests. I mean, we're going to run a legacy workshop for underprivileged youth when these top movie stars and grandmasters actually come and attend as special guests. Foremost is my grandmaster, Mr. Jimmy Wong Gojiang, 9th level grandmaster, been in the movies with Jackie Chan, and he's going to be our foremost guest.
Wow.
Also international movie star, undisputed world champion 5-time Cynthia Rothrock. We've invited her as well. In fact, I'm meeting with her now in a few days' time.
Right.
As well as Grandmaster Christoph Clark, who's the highest ranked master of Kung Fu in the Afro-American community.
Amazing.
And he is dying to come to Africa to see the potential that Sinawo is talking about. So I think this is going to be a melting pot. Throw in my brother from Mexico, Coach Edgar Ruiz, who spent time with me in China back in 2009. He's bringing a few athletes from Mexico. So it's going to give it that international flavor. We want our African youth to experience an international competition and to be in the company of royalty.
Absolutely.
Who have done the time, who are known worldwide more than me. I'm still a young boy compared to them. And then these grandmasters will do workshops with the athletes. And we will do a legacy campaign. Go out to Khayelitsha, go out to Mitchell's Plain before and after the tournament. Meet the youth there. Spend a morning with them. Because we have to leave behind a legacy.
Of course.
More than the bells and whistles of the tournament. So that is what we are focusing on. Obviously can't let everything out of the bag.
Yeah.
But we're excited.
Inshallah.
2nd, 3rd of March, 2024, the second Africa International Youth Kung Fu and Open Martial Arts Championship. We're even inviting Taekwondo teams to be part of the Martial Arts Festival, Karate teams, Silat teams, because we want to preserve classical martial arts for the next generation.
MJ, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in studio. We could talk for hours.
Yeah. A series, we'll do a series.
Definitely. I think that's definitely on the cards.
And broadcast from the International Championship next year.
But all the very best with all the plans that you have going.
Thank you.
So now to you and your career, I look forward to seeing you and the wonderful things that you are going to be doing as well, and all the very best for the competitions. And that's how we end tonight's interview with MJ Lee, World Kung Fu Champion MJ Lee in studio. Just doing amazing work in our communities. Don't forget to diarize those dates, 2nd and 3rd of March next year, 2024. From all of us here at Cape Town, the Johannesburg team, Faraz Patel, and the team takes over until about 7:30 from Sohail Barnes and myself in Cape Town. Have a great evening. Assalamu alaikum.